don't skip ahead. I have seen ReZero, read the book of for that ReZero season 2 will be based on up to roughly what will be the halfway point, which I'm suspecting will be roughly the end of the first cour, because it's being split into 2 cours for season 2. So if you have a problem with that, I like, me spoiling things, because I'm gonna talk. Get out! And I want to give this proper fair warning to everyone watching these, because, you want to. And if you care enough to, come back to my reaction, or my discussion, I guess, after I've gotten past the parts that I've read, pull up a newer video, and if I don't say don't skip ahead at the start of it, that means I have not seen whatever's going on. So that's what you should go off of if you care enough. If you don't, no matter what, link in the description for the non-typed version of the video, or if you can pull up your copy, cool. I'm going to say that at the start of every ReZero video because I think it's very important. ReZero is so easy to spoil that I would feel terrible if I did that to somebody. And, fair warning, if I say don't skip ahead at the start of the video and they're like, I'm going to skip ahead anyway without listening to what I have to say, fuck off, I don't care. I don't do that and then watch the video and then get mad about what's in the video if you didn't want to see that, Maybe I'm being harsh, but, I try. Anyway, there's a shot. Oh, by the way, this guy will be around because I don't have a reason to do any Undertale / Deltarune videos, so behold! He's so cute! Anyway, show. There's a good shot I'm going to do the rest of the ReZero Director's Cut season today. So it might... Honestly, I'm considering just making it one super mother trucking long video, That'll be that's at least, 8 hours or so? No, not quite that much. Not that much. Maybe 5. But yeah, that means I'll just reset the timer between episodes. So if you're gonna watch this whole thing with me, maybe I should time code it in the comments. I'm not gonna bother unless people there's a large amount of interest in the video, because there was not a lot in my first ReZero video. Beatrice, I think, is greatly underrated, and she's not... by the way, I felt this way before I'd read the books for season 2, so for the record, but she's not going to be come season 2. Beatrice is awesome. Especially in the books. I cannot recommend the ReZero books enough, because they're just tremendously good. That's loud. I'm loud. Good God. Probably screaming at you this whole time. I'm sorry. I'd be like, well, I'm an enemy now. I'm under attack. It's really weird. Because in season 2, alright, spoiler stuff I was talking about, we find out for sure that she's a spirit. And I could swear that was obvious information before that point. I honestly think Subaru was... Because it seemed like you figured it out right there. I could swear that Subaru is being massively dense, not figuring out that she's a spirit. Because I thought we were supposed to know that already, and in the book it was like this huge reveal, and I'm like, am I a genius? I don't think so. Oh, and if you are watching these videos, for the love of God, please comment. I'm begging you. I don't even care if it's a substantive comment. Just chat ReZero with me. I need the hyper nerds out there. The ones who are watching this video probably are the super ReZero nerds who have read the book. Maybe after seasons 2 starts, we'll get the anime onlys who might watch the show. Yeah, might watch the video, which is why I do the don't skip ahead at the start. You know, la. This and I'm probably gonna repeat myself, like at least from the first video. Not as much in this video because I'll remember what I said, but this OP is one of my favorites. Overlord Season 3's OP is another huge one for me. I love it. The outro, and I'm going to the Isekai Quartet ones just because they're in my mind right now. The outro of Saga of Tanya the Evil is one of my favorite outros. You know, the one where they show all the manga panels with her the circle eyes. The introduction to one of the most financially profitable characters in the history of anime, who will barely be in season 2. So I'm thinking they're gonna do like an OVA or two that features her, so they can rake in those extra. Because if there's like 4 years in between this and the next season, and there's no Rem in season 2 or barely any Rem, you know, ah, God, I love this humor scene. This whole sequence of events, before he dies for the first time in the mansion arc, I like a lot better. You know, for when he first meets Roswell, which is coming up, because it's a much longer scene in the book, and he kind of there's a lot more detail for the expressions that are given off. He says a lot more, and the book does a better job of making Subaru feel like a bit of an asshole who can't read the mood, which is kind of his whole big character trait, you know? The book, this is one of the key moments where the reader is someone who's rooting a little bit against Subaru in some situations, or at least you learn to, so it's more of a primer for when he goes way overboard in the city later. You know, in that episode 11 and 12 range where he so Emilia leaves him behind and he pisses off what's his name? Fancy dude, who with the sword. And the spirit fancy guy. God, I'm gonna feel like an idiot when we get his name, or I remember it. I'll probably remember it, honestly, because there's Reinhardt. Oh God, does it start with an O? Pink or purple hair. Gosh. I forgot his name last episode, too, if you remember. And then I remembered it. I like the guy, too, as a character. That's what sucks. I can't remember. Does he do the calisthenics drills in the show with the kids, or does he just do it in the books? Because that's one of the... Oh. Whew. Hmm. God, this... Amelia is more prone to dying, or as we'll learn in season 2, some other horrible things happening to her, than the girl from Stranger Things. Life is Strange is what I meant to say. Though the girl from Stranger Things also has a lot of horrible things that happen to her. She is yet to die. Anyway, Life is Strange, another rewind time type deal, which if you haven't played it, do. Good game. I haven't played Life is Strange 2. No spoilers. God, I can only imagine you. Either you're such a hardcore ReZero nerd that you watch every video on the internet about it, or somehow, for some strange psychotic reason, you like my voice enough to listen to this whole video. Because it's not like I'm saying that many interesting things. Beatrice suffered the most in the show for expressions that like expressions carry a lot of her character like development in the books. And I'm only talking about season 1 information here, where it's like, we can't really tell what she's thinking in the show for sure, but certain, expressions she has in the books that they of course tell us about make it much more clear what she's thinking. See, they do a good job of making him seem a little dumb here. But as we know, Subaru goes a little bit beyond that sometimes. No matter, I've seen this show a lot by now, like, and no matter how many times I come back to these early episodes, it's so weird seeing Rem like at the start of the meeting her, rather than where she ends up. Well, like I've said, we'll also be getting a lot more on Ram in season 2. That might help her become a bit more of a fan favorite character. She's getting a lot more screen time than Rem is. I like that not every, though it's actually a little interesting how they play this out, because it's a little bit of both ways. But not every female character on this show is just a potential waifu for Subaru. I like that. Ram especially, that the possibility's not even there. And like I told you I was gonna spoil season 2 stuff for the first half, so run. This is a major spoiler. But like, yes, but no. Beatrice is also a possibility there too, and for great reasons. In that, she's basically stuck in her situation until either someone kills her, which she's cool with, or someone chooses her as their one and only, which of course Subaru's not gonna do. That's why it's the yes and no situation, and she knows that. She's at best, she could at best be number 3 in his heart, because I believe that's what he thinks to himself, is the number 1 and number 2 in my heart are already pretty strongly decided. And that's the kind of the tragedy we're setting up for Beatrice, which I don't know the full situation. I don't know how that's going to get resolved, because I haven't read that far yet. I stopped reading for reactions, because I knew I was going to do this. Also, I stopped reading because that was the end of the officially released novels, and I would have had to go online, like the fan translations to do, which I don't want to do anyway, so it's like worked out. Yeah, where I've read is the end of the officially released novels. So if you know where that is, you... It's a little, and fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about it. It's weird to me to be like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I've warned you multiple times. Yeah, Roswell at some point near future, he might already know because of intuition. He figures out that Subaru can reset time. He's largely responsible for the events of the city arc where Subaru's trapped in the city, and the arc after this. After that. No, not that. Pretty much everything until the first arc of season 2, and even a little bit that. He's pretty much responsible for the way events play out. He is not responsible for what the bad guys do. He didn't control the witches cult or nothing, but he intentionally put Subaru in a position where he's the only one who could save it. which, by the way, I totally figured it out. Like, uh, I had a little bit more than season one information, but I had it solved because of like the extra analysis of the book. I'm taking credit. I know I can't prove it because I didn't do it on camera, but I figured it out. I got it uh, before he revealed it. Anyway, Roswaal is he intentionally put Subaru in a position, right, where the only way out was through dying a lot and like fixing it. And they haven't fully explained how he pulled off the, exactly what his thought process was, because we know that he doesn't know exactly how his power works. So it seems like he was being a bit ballsy, honestly, with how he did his little scheme. Because, like, what if he was wrong in some methodology? Because then Amelia's dead, and then his entire crew's gone. So he may, because he's not a mind reader. It's not like he just like, aha, I understand everything. That's what I'm liking about the reveal, and I'm looking forward to the full reveal when we finally get it. But yeah, Roswaal basically being set up to be possibly the main antagonist of this series. Or at least the most primary antagonist, because of course we have the other archbishops of the seven deadly sins to worry about, but no one's really a standout for bad guyedness. Greed, as we're gonna find out, is probably the most dangerous of the remaining archbishops, but like he doesn't really seem to have the motivation for anything greater, whereas Roswaal does, which we'll learn about. Which we might already know. Just do, I mean, spoilers, but whatever. We know that his goal. What is his goal? I don't remember actually. Evidently, I'll get to find out too. But he has a goal. We know he has a goal. Maybe it's something to do with becoming king. I don't remember. Okay. But yeah, he has a plan, a general ambition, and a lot of it's coded in mystery. Whereas the Archbishop of the Seven Deadly Sins, there's no end game for them because Satella doesn't want them. Heart. There's no end game for them because Satella doesn't want them, right? Whereas even worse off is like the demon beasts, like the white whale, and we'll find out the great rabbit horde, whatever it is, along with the giant serpent, I believe is the third one. They're not active antagonists, so Roswaal's really our only option for a main antagonist that's been introduced so far. So that's where I'm thinking they're going. Again, I don't know because I haven't read too far. He might have better intentions than I'm thinking. You suck. I wonder if Subaru was more used to dying, more willing to do it over and over again, like without having the emotional trauma. I wonder if he would have, because he was going to die anyway, taken this chance of relative calm in between resets to, uh, just learn a bunch of skills, chill for a little bit. Uh, I wonder if he would have done that. Of course, we find out in season two there's a very good reason he doesn't do that, which I don't need to get into. And the good reason now, of course, is that he does not know if his dying is an unlimited feature, which we, of course, now know. But, or at least the general presumption is he can die as many times as he wants. It's not for sure, but it's most likely. Going off of Echidna's assumptions, which granted she could have been lying. We don't know for sure, but I don't think so. I don't think there's ever going to be a conceit of he has like only 3 resets to get everything right or not. I don't suspect we're going to have that issue. It's not really fluid with the way that the show has worked so far, which maybe they'll have a surprise. Don't get me wrong, but if you watch my other reactions and you watch this, you really are thinking that I love ReZero because I can just ramble and ramble and ramble about it constantly. I'm only like paying attention to the show to give me new things to talk about. Because like I've seen this so many times I can basically play it in my head. Like I love this is my favorite show. Like how else can I explain it? Which makes it extra embarrassing that I can barely remember anyone's name. How many times I've seen this show. I've been under my lights for a while because I also did a bunch of Haikyuu reactions today, and I'm doing Adventure Time after this if I have enough time. So I'm starting to sweat some, so it's like, get ready for the cling. My lights are pretty hot. I need to replace them with ones that run cooler because I worry that these are gonna short bad at some point. I know because they're not really designed to be running for as long as I have them set, which shouldn't be a problem because I have a good surge protector plugged into. I'm not worried about like a fire being set or something like that, but like they're also really hot to be under. But money, so eventually. This is other than my Danganronpa live streams. If I go through with watching the whole show, the rest of the season today, this is going to be my longest video by far. One of Subaru's chief character flaws that he gets over, of course, is that he does joke around often at the wrong time. Though sometimes he's just interpreted as being joking around when he's like, "No, I mean it. I'm just goofy. Dang it." Ooh. We haven't, even in what I've read so far, we haven't really seen him have an opportunity to let her take point and have it be the right decision. Because a major plot point is that he doesn't listen to her and like know when to step back at all. In this season, and we haven't really gotten a chance for her to shine on her own that doesn't result in her dying, which is not really fair to her at this point because we know she is smart and capable. It's just like, and we also know Subaru. If it was all a one timeline thing, they'd just both be fucked. But Subaru would be more stupid than her. No, Amelia really does march towards death, whether intentionally or unintentionally, making very terrible decisions. Not terrible in the sense that they don't make sense, but like the wrong decision. Like, oh no. Which a lot of that's on Roswell because of the whole thing, but like, still. Uh, I don't. I don't think they've directly confirmed it, but in season 2, Elsa and the Beastmaster are going to be attacking, and it's heavily implied, I don't remember if it's confirmed, that Roswell is the one who hired them to make the situation harder for Subaru. This was the moment I knew for sure. Maybe I've said this already because there were several realizations where my love of the show went higher and higher, but this was the moment where I knew this show had me. I like, ugh. Like, if I'm when I watch reaction videos, right, to TV shows, I tend to jump like ahead to like a scene that I care about. I don't watch the whole thing. Some people do, some people don't. That's why I have a timer in case you want to watch the whole thing. And like for instance, the drive link never goes down. Uh, but yeah. Um, when I'm watching reactions, I go towards the to the moments that are like, you know, the pivotal ones, and this is the first shock moment of the show. Uh, like if you know it's a show about a guy dying, the first death's not really that big of a shock. Uh, and even if you do, no one expects him to be dead at the end of the first episode, even if it looks like he's dying. So it's not really that big of a surprise. So, but him dying here unexpectedly, first huge shock moment. This is the one where I was like, I'm interested in what other people thought when they saw this moment, which is one of the great values of reaction videos, is you get to sort of vicariously re-experience your first time viewing something through the reactor. That's one of the my favorite things, anyway. I love the relationship between these two that they develop over multiple timelines. Uh it's kind of interesting because I almost for sure that Beatrice doesn't remember anything from previous timelines, but the way Subaru interacts with her and grows more friendly with her does grow. And not really friendly so much because they kind of hate each other, actually. It's kind of a love hate relationship. To be honest, when it was time to figure out who killed Subaru, it's not that I got it wrong. I didn't even try to figure it out, and I don't, and I wish I knew. I wish I had, because I wish I could have, because I tend to think I would have figured out it was Rem, or at least had her as a top suspect. But I didn't try. That's my failure. Aw. Makes it sound worse than it is. Well, I mean, she did. She's actually partially responsible for his issues with his own magic in the future here. Um, yeah, him using his magic recklessly and basically damaging his vessel or whatever they call it becomes more into play in season 2 because that issue doesn't go away and I like it. I never really, because I think there must be some sort of mental occlumency going on with anything to do with Return by Death, because it appears at least that Puck never figures it out, despite being able to read Subaru's mind, which big deal, I'd think. I'm not moving him for cuteness factor. He's a little in the way of my microphone, and I'm just being safe for audibility's sake. Though cuteness factor is good too. Subaru in the books is slowly, well, at least the officially released ones, is slowly approaching general mental proficiency. And I'm looking forward to him fully reaching a point where A, he's used to dying enough that he doesn't panic even if it happens over and over again. Not that I don't like that, because I think it's one of the most interesting things about the show is how his mental state keeps bringing down. I just want to see how the difference in situation, how he changes. Because, of course, he's never going to stop dying. He's never going to get that good. Ah, the legendary scene! And, of course, you can hear it swaying, which is just horrifying. I remember correctly, his eyes are important. Like, if he's looking at you with one eye, it's like a different magic thing. If he's looking at you with another, it's a different magic thing. I don't remember what it does. And actually, another thing I figured out in the book beforehand is because they kept bringing up his yellow eye a lot. Like, almost too much. Like, I made it too obvious of a clue. Be like if this guy throughout the whole game was like, my head is so important. I like my hat. My hat. My hat. My hat. You're less surprised when he takes off the hat and there's a big reveal, you know? Again, it's a book thing that matters more because you're less likely to notice that in the anime because they don't have to say he's only looking at you with his yellow eye. Whereas he can just be like, mmm. Mmm. I bet he doesn't mind this timeline being forgotten by her. Ha ha. Fair enough. Now, if I remember correctly, he was surprised that this happened in the books because it didn't happen in the first timeline. And really, I'd need to analyze it some because I actually do because they're the butterfly effect in this show is paramount to everything. What decisions does he make that makes him more likely to end up being taught how to read and write? Araha? Natsuki Subaru on the scene. I don't. I can't remember if they make it clear or not. But he only learns one of the three types of glyphs throughout the mansion arc. The other two are harder, and he's still learning. But it's like you can only learn so much in like a month and a half, which is how much time he has until the next arc. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, which it's season 2 stuff. I love how the only reason Rem does, granted she trusts in Subaru too, but the only reason she does everything he says in the next arc is because Roswell said to her, "Do uh, whatever Subaru says." Without explaining it, he didn't tell her about the reset or anything like that. He just like that was part of the test. Is how did Subaru know all this stuff? You know. He is better though. I believe it's implied that she was that in the version of events in the original timeline, possibly the third timeline. I can't remember which timeline. One of the timelines that he still died. Rem had decided not to kill him, and that was the same timeline where they were gonna give him a haircut, which might be this one. And what happens is that in the next timeline, he believes that Rem was going to kill him. They don't fully confirm whether she was going to or not, but it's implied that she probably wasn't going to the reader. He was thinking, oh, so she was planning to kill me when I got the haircut, but that's the same timeline where he's like he's like, I'm demonically inspired for the first time to her or something like that, and she starts to warm up to him a little, so it's implied that she might not kill him. Yeah, which I think it's the first timeline, to be honest with you, where she wasn't going to kill him. Probably because the smell wasn't as bad from the witch. Also, um, because he was more natural at growing the relationship with them. I don't remember which timeline it is, and I'd have to pay a lot more attention to this than I am and reread the books. I'm only like read, talk with this one. The haircut thing. No, but she does kill him in this timeline. Because, well, I mean, like, I don't remember the setup. They made it seem like it could be either way in the book, and I don't remember the explanation. Because, like, he of course is going to die because of the demon curse. But she murders him last minute with the Chibalan chain. Oh, this girl, the blue-haired girl. She's the bad guy. She's the villain, okay? This bitch. Not that blue-haired girl. She cool. Littler blue-hair girl. She's the Beastmaster, the one with the powers. I believe at the end of the this arc, Roswell mentions that one of the kids gone missing. Apparently that's what's wrong. Oh. Falling over. Aww. I love that they're not the same character. Granted, this show's too smart to do anything like that. But a lot of twins in shows are they usually have a small difference or two to make it be like, oh, they're different people, but really they're the same person. They are not in this show. That's right. This reminds me of a scene that's coming in season 2 where Echidna is like in the school setting with him. It's not nothing like this in concept. I just the teaching aspect makes me think of it. It's amazing that his interactions with Amelia get worse and worse throughout this arc. Was that an added scene? Because I don't remember the salute. Granted, you forget small things. Poor hat. Mm. God, I love this show. Every aspect of it is near perfect. Crunchyroll, through an organization, is selling a life-size statue of Rem for $40,000. They treat this like as funny as it deserves to be treated in the article they did about it. If you just happen to have $40,000 lying around, for the sake of presumably your favorite anime character, only presumably, like maybe you just got billions of dollars and you're like, yeah, that blue-haired chick. I remember seeing this and thinking, like, is he just sick? Does he have to cure cancer to get out of this time loop? This is gonna take a while. He's too stupid to cure cancer in a couple loops. Gonna spend 1,000 years on this one problem. I guess arrhythmia would be more likely, I guess, given the heart palpitations. I think it's amazing that this whole thing's just because he's such an unlucky bastard. And keeps getting bit by the stupid dog. Don't get me wrong, Rem would have died in one of the timelines no matter what, because if he hadn't gotten bit. But like, God. Cause it's not like future arcs where Roswell's responsible for something. Literally, this man is just bad luck this time. Like, ah. Everything hit him. And there she is. So I don't remember. Like, maybe it's because he's skulking around the palace that she makes. Not the palace, the mansion that she makes her final decision to kill him here. Because I'm almost sure that she was the closest in this timeline to not killing him. Discarding the last timeline where she doesn't kill him and in fact falls in love with him, which is like the opposite of killing somebody, unless you're like a Black Widow spider. In which case, it's roughly the same deal. God, this show's like, ugh, on the gore. Awesome. Alright, straight into episode 4. I'm gonna reset the timer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give myself 3 minutes because I need to go to the bathroom. So I will be right back. I screwed up. I did the wrong timer. I did the count up timer, not the count down timer. I'll be back. Episode 4, I believe. So, episode 4, ReZero Director's Cut. Gonna at least get to episode 6 today, because I had to finish this off by next week. I'm recording this the week before season 2 starts, so I need to finish it by then. I'm gonna get to at least episode 6 today if I don't do the whole show. At least this guy gives me a prop. I'm gonna take his glasses. Hi, Sonny. Hang on, I got an idea. This will be my thumbnail. Get it right. Harder than it looks. I know this is so stupid, but I'm having fun, and that's half that. Not even half. I'm having fun, and that's most of the reason I do these videos. There we go. Now I just need to wait for a moment where it matters that I'm doing that, like, because the intro's not gonna do that. Dang it. Video production, ladies and gentlemen. Real-time focus. Sorry, Ralsei, you're not going to be able to see anything for a little bit. You know, seriously, I think this whole thing is, my game plan is to get 100,000 subscribers and work on a fan gamer sponsorship. That's what I need. Because I own most of their Undertale stuff. And I also got a Nico plush. And a shirt on the way. Good God. Yeah, fan gamer, if you ever watch this video, I will shill the hell out of you. Even your bad stuff, I'll be like, this is the best thing ever because I got it for free. Yes, you're sending me stuff for free, okay, fan gamer? I'm giving you enough. Just gonna do this for a little bit. I love this scene so much. Because she's spinning way too fast for how slow he's walking. I honestly thought she was in a revolving chair the first time I watched this. It's honestly probably an animation error, I'd say. That's gotta be enough. Alright, Ralsei. Wait, a book. A book's perfect. Show me the book again. Ah, what kind of bugs indeed, Subaru? Aww. Aww. The closest thing to a tsundere in this show. Aww. Falling out of a building is lucky? Aww. No! Poor bastard. Dun dun dun. Oh yeah, that's the first time in this timeline. Doofus. Oh yeah. A large part of me wanted a timeline where he asked for Ram to be his servant because that's the one. Other than like something stupid like kill yourself or what some nonsense like that, or whatever, something else, some obvious major he can't do. Like one of your servants sounds like something he would be able to pull off, but it's absolutely not doable if it's Ram, or Ram for that matter, because she wouldn't leave. So I kind of wanted a timeline where he asked for that just to see the response, because we know it's actually impossible for Ram to leave because she needs Roswell to stay alive. I cuss. Gusteco. Yep. God, learning that she's like old friends with Petalgoose is like one of the big shocks. But speaking of, are we able to see that book under her chair that's going to be important later? Unless that's the book that's important, but I don't think it is. Gospel. A complete gospel. She and Roswell both have one. Yep, yep. No. Honestly, even if Subaru was smarter, I struggle to see how he survived, barring just like not involving himself. I struggle to see how he survives anyway. Because a central conceit is that he dies because he doesn't read the mood or, he gets things wrong, things like that. But even if he was a super intelligent character, as weak as he is, I'm not sure what else could be done with the information on a first go around. That's one of the only issues I have with the way the books convey information. As even if you were a super genius who still wanted to involve themselves to save Amelia and all that, let's grant that. Even if you were a super genius, I'm not really sure how on earth a couple situations are saved without having death information. And it's implied that it's his fault that things his bad decision making, but like what else was there to do in some cases? Of course, the symbolism here is obvious even on the first go around. It's not stupid because he gets nothing out of it. It's stupid because It's not what's best for Red Ogre. Or himself. I love that she put the stupid on the blue ogre. Indeed. A bit of foreshadowing on his own character, too. Yep. Which it's implied that the great waterfall beyond it is also the homeland of, Earth. Which is what the selection process is for. Yep. Makes me wonder how they go about telling people about the witch since no one wants to talk about it. Like, do they just set the kid down, like, when they're, like, 5 and be like, this is the one time we're ever gonna talk about this? Okay, okay. Whoa. It's totally exactly how I picture something that's coming up in season 2. The art we got for that book right there. Aww. Oh. Good God, I've run out of things to talk about. I've babbled so much. I need a new muse. Of course, the coming murder of Subaru by Rem. One of the most interesting parts of the show because almost tells her about the past life stuff without telling her about it, which only confuses her. So that it's very interesting, the preconditions for telling about information, because sometimes it'll stop him when it, and sometimes it won't. The witch hand. So there's clearly loopholes for how he can talk about stuff. See, this is what I'm talking about. Subaru is a decent combat person by our world standards, just not by this world's. I wonder how many resets it would take to defeat Rem. Because if I'm not mistaken, he pulls it off in the Elseworld story, where he basically goes full bad guy. In that version of events, he'd never met Rem before she was his enemy. So there was no friendship, none of that nonsense. Mm-hmm. I like I like that she's not, it's her physical strength is limited to like super strength. She's not like extra durable when she's not in her human form. It's actually really interesting how her powers work. Because like we're gonna see her push her down in just a minute here, and it's really weird. You'd think she'd be able to handle that, but the sound of chains. Which is phenomenal. It makes it difficult to wonder what the way out of the situation with words alone could have been. Because if the demon beast situation in the village wasn't going on, how would he have ever earned her trust? Zip. Oh yeah, that's right. She did it with her wind powers, not with Yep. If only Krush was here. My family's been secular for generations. Of course, this is the first moment where we begin to consider that Satella has anything to do with his powers. God, reading the books, I'm glad I watched the show first because it is agonizing how long it takes for them to reveal that the witch is named Satella. It takes forever. Oh, no, wait. That's not the issue. That wasn't the issue. What was the issue? Oh. For them to fully confirm the jealous witch situation, because of course we learned it early on, actually. What was my issue reading it? Like, oh, I wish I could remember exactly what it is. It's relating to her name. Because, of course, we learned really roughly in the first book because of Amelia taking the name, the jealous witch's name. I love this scene. Really, any scene where Super is screaming at somebody is one of my favorites. Mostly because he's always wrong in these situations while also being completely right. Great characterization every time. I love that look on her face. She's like, what the fuck's this guy on about? Wait. I remember that being a longer scene in the original. Maybe they cut it down because it was one big episode here. Because, like, it was the end of an episode, or at least the start of one, in the previous edit. And of course, this is where. Oh, oh, oh. And. Amelia, how do you get your hair to do that? That's amazing. God, the sound designer on the show was so good. I'm just checking something YouTube wise. Something's confusing me. Ah, all good. And of course, this is the timeline where Rem is going to die, which is going to confuse the hell out of him. It doesn't look that bad. If it was big enough. Mm-hmm. Master of manipulation. See, this is what doesn't make sense to me. Because he's very clear it's until then is what the arrangement for the deal was. So it's clear that she's protecting him because she wants to, even though she says that the arrangements for the deal weren't that. Because unless there's like a special spirit contract thing that legalese or whatever in spirit world that's going on here, she's just bullshitting when she's like, I have to protect you forever. Because there was no time limit in our contract. Old lady. Oh, maybe that's it. Golly. I feel like they expanded this scene a little. Maybe not. Aw. Carry him, probably magic. Nope, not her. Good reaction. Of course, he needs to get a book from her. In the book, he asks for a book that's only glyphs, and he probably does that here too. They just don't show it. Having to choose what to cut in books is hard when in adaptation land, but hey, because Rem's dead. It's the fifth morning. God. This is one of the hardest parts to watch on the rewatch because of how much you come to care about Rem. Like, golly. Like, and it's nowhere near compared to where she gets Swiss cheesed by Petal Goose. But more like string cheese, actually. This and the OVA are pretty much the only times we get to see Ram show any level of genuine distress. The distress in the OVA is more like annoyance distress, whereas this is like full on ah. This is hard because I he actually can't say anything. That's the rough part here. Da, 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 da. Now, why didn't that cut his ear if it was gonna cut his cheek? Now they're one of the alternate timelines in the Elseworld stories that get released on Subaru's birthday is if he had accepted Beatrice's help here. And it's one of the darker timelines, just for like sad ending for Subaru. It's not as mean or cruel as when he goes full bad guy, but like on a personal level for him, it's the worst in my opinion. Poor, poor, poor girl. I love the characterization for Subaru here, how he does run away. Because he's not perfect! My god, he's actually kind of shitty. That moment is just God. Where she reaches out. I just. By the way, the reason I'm not having Rem and Ram here, my figure for them, is they're just a bit of a pain in the neck to set up. Whereas Prince of Darkness here, other than the hat, is much more accommodating. Maybe I should just leave him without the hat, but it's like a good finisher to the outfit. I absolutely hate how one of the main criticisms of this show is that he doesn't just off himself to fix his problems every time things go south. Because, like, it's completely. Would you? He looks a little off model in this shot. Especially if they show scenes like this, where it's clearly not that easy. The scene where she dies in season 2, rough. I'm, of course, talking about the book again. Bullshit. And that was the case before one of them died, of course. One of my favorite scenes in season 2 will be a point where he's gonna die, and it is near her. And, like, she tries to save him because she's panicking. She's genuinely panicking. That's a much bigger thing than I think people realized going through season 1, when she says that twice in season 1. Now and later on, during the final arc of season 1, when she says it, or the next to final, the second to final. At least die somewhere where I can't see you. Very important. Of course, this is one of the first times that Subaru gets his shit together. He needs to do it. It doesn't fix him, but, like, at least it gets him through this arc. Honestly, one of the only annoying part of this show is that is when he is begging people to help him after he becomes determined to, like, kill Petal Goose. He has the scene with the girl, the mean princess lady. Her crew, she asks he asks Crush for help. He asks Anastasia for help. He asks, what's her name? The one who's, like, super rich and pompous with the fan. Anyway, he asks them all for help, and he's stupid about it. And it's, like, a big deal that he's stupid about it. Like, they make a big character point of it. And, which was cool. I liked the characterization, but it was annoying that he didn't catch on himself at all. Like, he had to go through a whole timeline to get it through his head that he needed to be smarter about how he asked for favors. And it is one of the only times this show in the book lays it on a little thick how bad he is at doing the reading the mood thing, at working with people. It's not that it was bad characterization that had happened. A little was fine. They just laid it on too thick, in my opinion. That one episode is the one that I go back and I'm like, I don't really like how they play this. It just go a little too far. God, he's just torturing them explaining all this. Because he's like, God. I think this was episode, what, 4? I think. Maybe this really will be an 8-hour video. Of course, we see a little bit of that with Beatrice now. Oh, it's more of a serious thing. Don't die near me. Ooh. Just imagine if he hadn't died there. Oh my god. Spooky sound. Not that bad. Every time I hear that, I hear California touch. I love how it turns into his hand a little, like Isn't that the title that they originally used? Hmm. Ooh, I remember this. I came to this scene for a reason. When I was like looking for when I came to this episode. It was something to do with the books. What was it? Oh yeah, I came to this scene because it was like the first time. This is episode 6. In case you didn't see me switch episodes. Um, in the books and the show, this is the scene where he's telling her, where she tells him about the witch's miasma that hangs off of him, or he tells her, and that's why I came to this scene. I like rewatching little moments like that where things click. I was confused when the play bar was already there. It's also the case for several of these episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Other points in the show I looked for. What's memory snow? I guess we'll find out. I was thrown. I was like, why did they do that?
So, same deal as last time. I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes, and I'll be right back. Hello again. Wouldn't his life be amazing right now if that were the case? Aw.
One of the scenes that I'm saddest they cut from the book is the one where Roswaal tells him that he's the Shadow Arts user and that it means nothing. Because this coming scene where Puck explains it, the whole time Subaru's already had this conversation with Roswaal, and he's just like, maybe Roswaal was lying, trying to hold back my true potential. Oh man. It's Batman! This is a category error. Basically, it makes you a little better at stealth games, which useful for the kind of situation Subaru's in. Of course, none of that matters because of him being stupid with his powers. This is probably the meanest thing Puck ever does to Subaru. Because it reminds him of the Satella thing. Ah. That's not good. Because of this, he actually would have been better off dying after this point long term. Because this is going to be a huge problem for him later. Whereas he actually fucks up his gate more. You know, because of this stupid fruit she's about to give him that he uses multiple times and he's reckless about. He rarely does. Aw. Mm-hmm. Who shows up again? That's right. Ah! That's a bit overpowered, honestly. I love that look. Like, of course, the other six witches will be relevant again soon enough. Mm-hmm. Which I wonder if they'll ever explain if it's beyond if it's anything more than just her regular magic. If she's like powerful for some other reason. Also the same eye color. That purple violet thing going on. Of course, in the book, it's made clear that she was trying to push Subaru away. She was trying to save him by making him scared of her. But of course, he'd never heard of the witch, so it was like, Satella, pretty name! Yeah, he's in his mode now. That he's actually panicking the whole time. Aw. I don't know. He's saved her life more than you have. Loser. Maybe not yet. Mm-hmm. Put it short and sweet, he's going mad. He's not. He's not there yet. And it's not a mental illness sort of madness, which is good. Such an easy lie. It's amazing that he recovers with Rem in this timeline. It's largely thanks to Amelia, of course. He actually really should have been better with the knife to start with. Maybe not like being good with it, but it was a little ridiculous. Given his general physical ability and the fact that he's good at sewing, which is a fine tuned thing, he shouldn't have been terrible with operating the knife for cutting vegetables, which he was at the start. I'm not saying he should have been good, just average. Average is what I'm talking about. Siesta. Is he throwing up? Yep. And this is the moment. As I've said before, up to now, Subaru was infatuated with her. It's this moment where he falls in love with her. Even though it's probably his weakest moment and he hates that it happened. Weakest moment with Amelia. His weakest moment is definitely the the complete mental giving upness that happens. There's so many things about this timeline Subaru might have preferred to die after they happened, like long run. But they really and truly, this one did save him for a long time, even if it made him a bit dumb with Amelia. Aww. Poor bastard. God damn it! This one's getting me again. So much so that I sneezed. How can you not love Amelia? God, getting into her pathos, little in this season and much more in season 2, is great. Honestly, I think that my most salty thing with this show is that Rem figures are much easier to find than Amelia figures. Be Echo. Aww. Okay. Neat trick that it is. Physical contact. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's like the rules are iffy for what he can talk about. It's not consistent. Makes me think that someone's paying attention, like Satella. Not Satella, really, because it's like, it's somewhat clear, somewhat, not fully, that she's not really fully in tune with what's going on with his experiences. Aww. Aww. No. Aww. I wonder if Subaru is short or if she's tall, because they're pretty close in height. I mean, if you're willing. Ha. Woohoo. I know there's nothing to do with ReZero. It just reminds me because the title popped up. One of my favorite titles of all time for an episode of a TV show is from Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. It's actually from one of the not great episodes of the series, if I recall correctly. The episode title is "Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things," and I just love creative and interesting titles like that. Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things. You taught them the Ramsey thing. Of course, Petra's gonna be more important in season 2, so pay attention to her. And of course, this bitch with her evil little plan. That is people who are reacting to the series, and I watch those reactions. That's one of the moments I'm looking forward to the most, is realizing that she's a bad guy, full on. Like, not even like she's a kid that's working for somebody else, though a little bit to a degree, but like she's a bad guy in her own right, with like full on like evil status going on. She's a bounty hunter, baby. Actually, I wonder if they'd give her just a slight bit more screen time this time, because now season 2 is right around the corner when they were doing the director's cut. Of course, season 2 was supposed to come out in April, right after the director's cut ended, but oops. Uh-huh. The guy with the kid with the tooth around his neck, or whatever that necklace is, he's the only other one that looks like has an interesting enough character design that I could think he'd become important down the line. And now Roswell's gonna come out and do his flyaway thing. Yep. That guy. Garfield. Wait, no. Why would you dress formally for Garfield? Because I know that's where you're going. Yeah, did he figure out some point during this arc that he was resetting? I don't remember. We don't know for sure what his trigger was for figuring it out. Was it just that? Can he remember a little bit between timelines, or is it a matter of some key detail he noticed? Could also be that he knew information from the first arc somehow that made him think, man, this guy could only know this if he reset time. I didn't ask you to just repeat it. I know it's not supposed to be hilarious, but that's probably the funniest moment in the series to me. You really are impressionable. Wait. Which is true. He's not BSing. Yeah, but Amelia would be sad. I we learn basically through characterization of her that we learn that she probably would have helped him anyway, just like found a way into it that was less obvious. God, I was so damn stupid the first time I watched this. Should have figured it out. Should have been obvious. Dun dun dun. Except he knows there's another order. He's figured it out over multiple timelines. I love the version of events where she goes to Beatrice, what, that never happened, and panics. And of course, I think this is the point where Roswell is sure, because Ram reports these events back to him. The funny thing is, she probably think he's the one that's more prone to dying, when in reality, ha, ha, ha. Oh. The birth of the greatest relationship that can never be. Because he's friggin' great. I wonder if any of these others are gonna end up mattering at some point, like these kids. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the thing. I would not be doing this if this was a blind reaction situation. I would not be doing this. And of course, the girl that's still in the forest is actually the ringleader of the demon beasts. It's all part of her evil motherfucking plan. Come on. Sorry this is taking me so long, but luckily for me, I didn't have much to say about this portion anyway. It's adorable, and that's what I got for you. My question is, was she trying to lure Subaru in? This is why I think that Roswell might have hired her. Uh, Even in this arc, because I'm convinced he hired her and Elsa in the arc in the next arc they appear in, but he might have hired her here too if he learned of Subaru's reset before he came to the mansion. That's the big question. Because otherwise, who was the girl trying to lure? What's the purpose of this portion of the scheme? It only makes sense if it's Subaru that they're after. She has a name, I just don't remember what it is. I've only read that portion of the book once, and I would have reread it by now if it weren't for wanting to do the reactions. It'll make them a little bit more interesting, I think, if I'm revisiting it for the first time. Mm-hmm. Nah. The first of many times she's gonna save his ass. Not that he won't return the favor. Aww. Yes, it is. I wonder if she's awake and just playing sleep really well. Dun dun dun! I maybe way later in the story than I've seen, I've been wondering if we're ever gonna get like him resetting all the way back to the beginning, which would be horrific for him, of course. Uh I've been wondering if we're ever gonna get that because certain situations like this girl right here would be totally different in his head. Aww. Ah. Of course, she may not be overly, like, durable, but she can take a hit. So that's good. She's just knocked out. You got this, demon girl. And of course, she heals wounds in this form. I don't like that he fully understands that. Because I would just be thinking, has magic. Oh. A clock telling the wrong time marks out my life. Poetic. The intro's more of a bop. The lyrics to the outro are really good. Of course, at this portion, it becomes a bit of a bop itself. I think I said this in the first episode. It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, how they do their ending themes. Oh, man. I wonder if the people working on this anime knew just how good they did before it came out. Because they did great. Oh no. Next episode. Fanatical methods like a demon slash ram. Backslash ram. Same deal as last time. 3 minutes. I'll try anyway. there's a good shot this will be my last episode for this video. I might still finish the show today, but I'm gonna stop recording after this episode and start a new thing. Get myself some dinner, you know, that whole shebang. Woo. I've been playing the Hitman games. If anyone wants to chat about that, hit me in the comments. The newer ones. I've never played the old ones. I wonder if Roswell, because he's such a genius, and Beatrice had removed his curses, they would have been able to do it. And of course, he'll have the thing about, you know, no longer being able to say the thing about scars on your back being a swordsman. It's greatest shame. Equal? Nommed. I love that line. Okay. I guess the only thing I don't like about the intro is how poorly it represents how the characters are used in this show. Because you'd think Felt was a much bigger deal beyond episode 4. I mean, she's a big deal for the story purposes and probably gonna matter a lot more in the later books. But, like, she's not in season 1 that much. At all. Ram, and Amelia, and to a much lesser extent Beatrice, make much more sense for the intro the way they use them. But Ram and, granted the intro changes, but it feels off. God, I love this shit. I love it so much. What's the staircase, though? Like, what's that supposed to represent? Because they don't really do useless information in this show, so it probably means something. I've never really thought about it. I always just looked at it like it looks cool, but like there's probably a meaning to it. It's one of the cutest scenes with Ram. Oh, hey, it's good. One of my favorite scenes is when, and it's a horrifying scene to think of as a favorite, but it's like after Rem is forgotten, and she's like, somehow you saved the day. I think what's so cool about this portion of this story is that there's so much new stuff happens, and so it feels like he's gonna die again, but he doesn't. Like, they don't just kill him because every time they play with your expectations a little bit. I kind of want them to do an entire long arc without him dying once to throw us off. I think there's only been one book where he hasn't died, but it was in the middle of an arc. Which is generally considered bad. Just look at the character design on her. It's phenomenal. It's like the little accessories and like the shoulder pads. A little crown she's got up there, or like lollipop, whatever she got sticking in her hair. I tell you what, the way he does act about the death stuff, assuming you didn't know about Return by Death, you'd be at least a little intimidated of Subaru. Wasn't it only like 7 or 8 that successfully got a bite in? Granted, that's a big problem because there's so many dogs. Like, getting the right ones is the problem, but it's not really the number that's the issue. It's that it's being spread out. This is why I consider moments like this is why I consider Subaru one of the greater heroes in anime because he's not amazing. And he does run sometimes, but ultimately he makes the decision to save people, and he doesn't love Rem, at least not yet. But he still puts himself in harm's way for her and the kids too. And like I said, sometimes he does run away because he's not perfect, but he does it. And I think that's like much more heroic than some hero characters. Because he's not just scared, he's actually terrified some of the time and breaking down slowly but surely. Very important. What's it sound like? I don't like that line. But the important bit. I wonder if he ever thinks of that line from the Red Ogre story, realizing what she said. Because I don't think he ever learns their backstory, even though we as the audience are told it. Not at least fully. It's nothing to do with what he's talking about, but it's actually a good philosophy in online games. Never give up. Because sometimes the other guy is too stupid to finish you off, so you might win anyway. Never give up until you're dead, at least. Oh. One of them gave him the fruit, of course. Aha. And. Ah! Watching her die is brutal. Or reading about it, I guess. I vivid imagination, so it's like watching her die, reading about it. Nice. And of course, they're all focused on him squarely because of the witch's scent. She can basically just hang. Of course, she'll run out of power if she just goes all out. Means what it sounds like. Makes sense. All right. After it kills Amelia, as we see with the fight with the white whale, he uses that much less, that trick. Which I don't think it's ever gonna kill someone unless he's intent on finishing the sentence. But he doesn't like rolling the dice on it. Her expressions during this whole sequence are the best. She's like, this is it. This is how I die. Look at how gorgeously animated that little small sequence was. Of course, that's what knocked her out. She has a limited magic supply because she doesn't generate her own magic. She has to get it from Roswell. God, the fight scenes featuring Ram versus everything are the best. Okay. Not Ram versus everything. Ram versus everything doesn't last too long. Ram versus everything, on the other hand. I take it all back! Okay. Make it sound so easy. Oh no. No, this whole thing's awesome. I'll be right back. Stopped at 2:24, so that's where I'm setting the timer. I'll be right back. Starting the timer. Dun dun dun. I like the information in this episode. I think they over explained a little. Not a problem wise, but like this is just a little more boring on the rewatch. Ah. Ah. Awesome. She's like Todoroki split in two. So she's got some abilities of her own. And of course, the witches' cult will show up. Potatoes. I wonder when she first decided to start using a ball and chain. Talk about rotten luck. Now, could she not think her sister was perfect? Mm. Yep. In the Elseworld story where Subaru goes off with Ram, it's amazing that she's able to leave Ram like that. And not in a good way only. It's a good way and a very bad way. But it's interesting nonetheless. Jesus Christ, how the brutality of some of the imagery in this show. That really is the worst of it. Is that if she were older, she would have been able to take them all on no problem. That's how absurdly powerful these two are. And she probably blames herself for even thinking that. Oh! Did we see her in? I need to go look at the original version of this episode because I didn't think she showed up at all until season 2. I'm gonna check that out. I think that's an addition because we heard about her, of course. I think, but I don't think we ever got to see her. They probably cut her out because they knew it would be so long until season 2 come out. That's information that's not needed. At least I think. I need to go watch it again as soon as this is over. Golly, it's amazing that she's already able to do that again. This scene in the book is from her point of view, and it's so much more awesome when it's like in the written form. I'm a book dork, so it's weird for me to say the book is better. Like, but like, I love how the book does that occasionally, where it is written from a different character's point of view, so you're inside their head. Which that's what I enjoy the most. That's really what you lose in book to anything adaptations is the inside the head nature of the character. Like Subaru is a much more complex character in the books because they can show more of his thought process. He's the same person in the show. It's just that less of his action is explained. No. My soul. This is one of his coolest moments. Oh, I think the reason they play the music is so you'll extra think he's about to die. I need to buy this show on DVD, man. I still don't own it. I wonder if they'll release the director's cut on Blu-ray. That'd be cool. Awesome. I don't blame him for doing it this time because he didn't know he was fucking up his magic gate. All future instances, he was just being non-creative. Especially the fight with the dude who he has an unearned hatred towards. God, what's his name? Fuck. Whoosh! Ulgoa. Whoosh, motherfucker, whoosh! God damn. How could this show not rip your heart right out?
Ain't that right?
Oh. This is not a happy scene. But it gets there. But she kind of sucks. Ah. Fuck, I love this show. He's demonically inspired after all. Not really supposed to be a good saying where he's from, but I get what he's going for.
Look at how gorgeous this looks. It's just good. God, it's gonna suck seeing you die again. Always sucks, but like, God. And as this is, of course, the scene where we get rid of the implication that these two have been fucking the whole time, because that's what they make it seem like up to now. Mm-hmm. I don't think Subaru ever learns that this is what they do. Not that he thinks what's going on, but like, someone should really tell him. Golly. That's right. He has. That's right. That's what the goal is. What's the goal? Yeah, that's right. Yes. Of course, now he's gonna ask for that date. As reward. What was that name again? I looked up the knight's name is Julius. I kept having Lucia in my head, and it was close. That's why I kept getting stuck on it. I was like, no, that's not right. That's not right at all. It's a girl's name. Um, tag with it. We are going to go check together. First things first. Going back to the right time where the the other maid shows up. I don't remember her name. She's important in season 2, of course. So I'm curious if that was in the original cut of the show. Gonna be when she's being a maid.
Okay, so I think it starts with a B. Anyway, it's towards the end of the story. Gonna be the episode titled Rem. No, it'll be back. That was the beginning. It would be right around here. It was here. My bad. My bad, y'all. I forgot. And this is why we check things. It's easy to forget her because before season 2, she's not a principal character at all. Well, I am going to eat some food and maybe continue, maybe not today. Like, comment, and subscribe.